Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Brother John Stewart on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministries, here to take y'all on another little walk with the word for the day. Today I got another lesson on my guy David, and it's a sad occasion because once again it ain't good. It ain't gonna turn out good for my guy David. But something you have to understand: there's consequences for your actions. So this is gonna actually be a kind of continuation from the video I did yesterday, Idle Hands. So if you didn't watch that video, go watch that video so you'll be caught up and you'll understand the significance of this video. So with that being said, I'm gonna share with y'all a lesson out of 2 Samuel chapter 12, verses 9 through 14. So 2 Samuel 12, 9 through 14, the Lord tells us this. He said, "Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do this evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this sun. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun." And David said unto Nathan, "Oh, I have sinned against the Lord." And Nathan said unto David, "The Lord has also put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die." My, how the mighty have fallen. You know, Newton's third law of motion says that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. In other words, there's going to be some repercussions for everything that you do. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how great you think you are. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care what you are. Nobody is above the law. And this is something that I've always taught my kids. You know, I taught my kids since they was young, like, look, there are several laws at play that governs how the world operates. Some of them, you know, actual laws, and you got laws of physics, laws of science and stuff like that. But then some laws are just, I can't explain, they're just laws, you know. And no matter how famous you are, how rich you are, how pretty you are, how good you think you are, you're not above these laws. And one of those laws is you reap what you sow. You know, people call it karma or whatever, but you reap what you sow. The Bible says you reap what you sow. So when you look at these verses here tonight that we about to go through and do this lesson on, we get to see the devastation of the harvest that David's about to bring in, because he reaped evil, and therefore he's gonna. He sowed evil, so therefore he's gonna reap evil. So we got to look at everything that he brought into his life, all because he was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be doing stuff he wasn't supposed to do, all because he wanted a piece of booty that he wasn't supposed to have. So first off, if you put him at enmity with God, to me, that's the worst. That's the worst. It put him at enmity with God. You got to think about it. He went from God telling him he's a man after my own heart to saying, nigga, by your action, I don't think you actually like me. Because though he said, by your actions, it actually shows that you hate me. So he went from being a man after God's own heart to a nigga that he can't stand. That's enough right there. That is enough right there. That's devastating enough right there. But that ain't all. That's just the beginning. Secondly, he brought drama and destruction into his own house. He brought the drama and destruction. He brought about the downfall of his own house. And that's what you got to understand as a man, as a father. When you out here in this world, you have to watch what you do, because everything you do, you bring home to your house. You know what I'm saying? You don't, just because you wipe your feet at the door don't mean you leave it at the door. Everything you do comes back to your house, and it comes back to your family. So David brought all kind of drama and destruction to his house, because you know the way this story plays out, because the Lord said, I'm going to raise up evil in your own house. And that's exactly what he did. So the way this story ended up playing out, so his oldest son ended up raping his daughter Tamar. And so Tamar's full, so, you know, David had like several wives. So he had a lot of half sisters and half brothers, but some of them they were full brothers and full sisters. So his oldest son raped his half sister Tamar. And then her full brother Absalom got revenge by killing the older brother. And then, of course, after he killed the brother, he had to run. So he went on a run for like 2-3 years. And then finally, after 2-3 years, David brought him back home through a series of events. And then David wouldn't speak to him for a while. So the whole time he was upset. So he started organizing a mutiny against David, and eventually got enough people behind him to where he actually overtook the throne and kicked David out. He took David's throne away from him. So then David had to go to war against his son and end up killing his own son in the war. All this happened over a piece of booty. You see what I'm saying? Over what we think was just one little sin. See, this world got a way of teaching us, oh man, if it feel good to you, don't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't hurt nobody. Well, guess what? A whole lot of people got hurt, and a whole lot of people died behind him getting that piece of booty that he wasn't supposed to have. So you got to be careful with that. So he's at enmity with God at this point. He brought drum and destruction to his own house, ended up having to kill his own son, and had his own son rape his daughter, all kind of crazy. That's all resulted from this one little sin. Then another thing, he brought embarrassment upon himself. Because the Lord said, you did what you did in secretly. You know what I'm saying? You did it secretly, but guess what? What I'm going to do to you, I'm going to do in front of all Israel. You know what I'm saying? David thought he got away with it, but like I said, nobody gets away with nothing. So another part of the story, Absalom, when Absalom ran his daddy out, he set up a tent on top of the palace and had sex with all 10 of David's concubines in front of everybody. In front of everybody. See, that's why they got their saying, what's done in the dark will come to the light. David did it in the dark, but the deeds, the repercussions from those deeds was shown in the light, and everybody got to watch his son have sex with his wives. That's insane. That's some craziness. But see, this is what happens when you bring sin into your world. So not only that, he also cursed his family. Because again, his oldest son ended up dying, his daughter ended up raped, his third oldest son ended up dying because he had to kill him because he ran him out of town. The baby that resulted from the affair, that baby died. And then the Lord said, the sword is going to always be in your house. So now for the rest of all the generations, he's cursed all generations to always have to be watching out for the sword. They always got to look over their back for the sword because of this thing that David did. You see what I'm saying? And then that ain't even the worst of it. And the worst of all that is bad enough. And the worst of it, he gave the enemies of God ammunition against him. He gave the atheists and the pagans and the naysayers, he gave them a reason to say, aha, aha, see? You know what I'm saying? That was the biggest offense. If you pay attention to it, that's what God was the most pissed off. That's why the baby died, because he did that. That was the biggest offense. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you got to understand, yeah, what we do, it does affect us. But when you take on the mantle of being a Christian, you got to understand, when you take on the mantle of being a Christian, you got to understand everything you do is going to affect the kingdom of God as well. Because everything you do is being watched. Everything you say is being watched. So that's why you have to watch your actions, because whatever you do affect the kingdom. You see what I'm saying? So to have someone like David to be in the position he was in, and to have God bragging on him, getting all the props that God has given him, and to do something like that, it makes God look like a horrible God, and it hurts the kingdom. It gives him the ability to say, aha. You know, I know a lot of non-Christians because of what I do. I know a lot of non-Christians, and most non-Christians I know don't want to be Christians because of the actions of other Christians. Matter of fact, the famous Indian leader, Mahatma Gandhi, he said that. He said, man, I would be a Christian if it wasn't for other Christians. So you got to understand the true repercussions of your actions. Yes, David went through some stuff with his family and some drama and all that, but the true repercussion, the one that really matter as a Christian when you do stuff, is giving non-believers a reason to not believe. And the problem is they already have enough excuses for not accepting Jesus Christ as Savior. So don't you be another reason that they have to do so. And that has been your little walk with the word for the day. So I pray these are blessing y'all. If they are, make sure you like, tag, share, comment, repost, do all that good stuff to help your boy out. Facebook Live, Monday nights at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to hear my full sermons, and then I post them on my Facebook page, and I also put on my YouTube page. If you need to find all my little social media outlets, make sure you go to LostSheepMinistry.com. You can find them all there. And of course, if you're not 100% sure of your salvation, make sure you reach out to me and let me know, and I'll put some time in my schedule to go over the gospel with you. I love you all, and thank you all for being here. And remember, I always watch your back and pray. Till next time, peace.